News has dropped from The Athletic that indicates Christian Wood could be traded in a very lackluster package for the LA Lakers. So we're going to break down that report, including an update on a longtime LA Lakers trade target. Basically, the talks are dead despite the fact he might get traded at this year's trade deadline. So lots of stuff to break down in this video, but before we do, folks, again, we are on our push to hit 2,000 subscribers ahead of this year's trade deadline, and over 88% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So it would mean the world to me, it would mean the world to all of us here at Lakers Digest if you guys could hit that subscribe button so we can hit that 2,000 subscriber milestone. But let's dive into the news. Let's dive into what's going on, because this is Lakers fans fired up as a Christian Wood Lakers trade could be incoming. Now, Christian Wood was a pretty hyped up signing over the course of this summer. A lot of Lakers fans were excited about him coming in to sort of fortify our front court and see how he could bring some floor spacing, unlock his offensive game, playing around LeBron James and Anthony Davis, because the Lakers traditionally have had a pretty solid defense. Obviously, it's gone up and down over the last few years, but overall, the cap sort of is head. You want to put your hard hat on. You're playing for the LA Lakers. You want to lock into the defensive end. Obviously, Anthony Davis, the Vandalorian, really helped with that. Jared Vanderbilt's out here now at this point. But Christian Wood was thought to be a guy that could be unlocked, especially with Darvin Ham's comments regarding him entering the season. People thought Christian Wood would really just blossom with the LA Lakers. However, it hasn't really been the case. He's been in and out of the rotation a little bit. Again, I mean, he gets minutes, but he can come in, get you some buckets. He's definitely still an elite scorer off the bench for an off-the-bench big. Not a world-renowned all-star scorer by any means, but has definitely taken a step back in terms of his stats being on a better team. So what's really going on here now with Christian Wood? Well, The Athletic reports that Christian Wood for the Lakers are just $1.33 million above the tax line right now, so surely they will be below it in 72 hours. The oft-mooted trade of Russell and Hood-Schifino for DeJounte Murray, along with draft capital that doesn't impact the cap, would get LA below this threshold, so that's likely plan A. However, LA doesn't do a larger deal. Don't be surprised if the Lakers surrender a second-round pick to land Wood on another roster. His $3 million player option for next season will likely make this more expensive than a typical deal with a minimum expiring contract. It will likely require a real second round pick and not just cash, but in LA's case, the financial calculus of assessing the roughly $9 million tax distribution to below the tax teams is going to make it a worthwhile transaction. So this is something Lakers fans just kind of hate to hear, because it's not our money. We don't want the front office, especially the LA Lakers, one of the biggest franchises in all of sports. What are we doing here? Cheaping out on a potential tax? Again, there's long-term implications if you're above that tax apron. So this isn't just a move for, the $9 million or however much they're going to save just for the season. But if the Lakers are over the tax for next season, then you get put into the repeater tax, and then you're dealing with much bigger issues down the road. That's something you do have to take into account. But you also have to factor in that LeBron James is 39 years old. The front court for the LA Lakers, especially with Jared Vanderbilt, going down with injury, with all the injuries the Lakers have kind of sustained over the, last couple weeks or so, we're not that deep in the front court right now. And sure, Christian Wood has probably taken a step back this season. 7 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist per night, only shooting 31% from the three-point line, which is the real killer. I mean, even just last year for the Dallas Mavericks, where people thought, he was taking a step back, especially from his Houston Rockets days. I mean, his numbers, his points have basically halved, and his minutes haven't taken as significant as a drop, but definitely his field goal attempts certainly have. But he's not making his threes, he's not making his jump shots, and all these types of things, so I get it, but still, we need some depth out here in the front court. So unless you're making other moves, alternative sort of decisions to make a trade happen to fortify that front court, because right now, again, looking at this LA Lakers team, right, you have sort of a Jackson Hayes, who again, himself, probably some Lakers fans would rather him end up getting dealt, but maybe not. He's a younger player and has some potential maybe there in the future. But outside of AD out there in the front court, especially with Jared Vanderbilt out with injury, there's not a ton of depth that's reliable, that's half consistent on this LA Lakers roster. I've heard when this trade was sort of announced, this report came out, some people pointed at Cam Reddish as maybe a guy that should be dealt, but again, we've seen highs from Cam Reddish, and he always brings on the defensive end, so I don't think that he'll potentially get dealt, but some people are saying just to keep Darvin Ham from to just save himself, but the shooting is a big concern for Christian Wood. I get it, here now at this point, even on corner threes, he's only making 34% of those this season. That's the shots you're getting when you're playing around alongside LeBron James and Anthony Davis. But, 30% from behind the three-point line. He's not making his midi, shooting 20% from the 16 to 3-point range. 10 to 16, making those shots. The closer middies, 3 to 10, pretty efficient shooting there. But again, there have been some regressions in regards to Christian Wood's ability to get some buckets here now at this point. Still, 97% of his shots are assisted upon here now at this juncture in his career now at this point. At least 3-point shots, 70% of his 77%, of his 2-point shots are assisted upon. So again, if you're getting spoon-fed a lot of these buckets and you're this not that efficient, that's something to really not be that excited about as an LA Lakers fan. And then you also sort of have to factor in he's not a good defender. We get why his rotation minutes have fallen out of favor and all of these types of things, but to sort of just dump his salary, for just tax implications and stuff like that, there has to be a better route. There has to be a better pathway in order to sort of make this happen. I mean, giving up a second, attaching assets to sort of get rid of him during a season where he could potentially be valuable, could potentially be useful. I mean, there's a real possibility. The Lakers, you're in a playoff series, they're cold on the offensive end, things just aren't going right. You bring in Christian Wood, and he just gives you a 20-piece off the bench. You're not getting that consistently from Christian Wood this season, but there's a real possibility, a real world where that could happen. I mean, there's no reason to deal away an asset such as that along those lines. And then for most teams, you'd have to bring back some type of salary as well. So, sure, you can get some on the minimum to make sure you're below that tax threshold, but I'm just not about this. I don't like this approach. I don't like this move for the LA Lakers. I don't think it's a smart sort of play for this team, but let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. The next thing we're taking a look at is a longtime Lakers trade target. The talks are dead around a former LA Lakers trade target. Now, one name that has been attached to the LA Lakers if he were to ever leave his team has been Klay Thompson. And it seems like, given the Warriors' sort of season so far and tax implications themselves, it seems more and more likely that he'll actually be traded ahead of this year's trade deadline. But the Lakers don't seem like they're going to be an actual potential destination for Klay Thompson, no matter how many rumors have been brought up over the past, no matter his dad's relationship with the organization, all those types of things. It doesn't seem like there's a chance he ends up in the LA market, which is probably a good thing. The Sixers are favorites to land Klay Thompson right now, but they're followed by the Miami Heat, the Detroit Pistons, Atlanta Hawks, New York Knicks, Chicago Bulls, and Dallas Mavericks. So, 7 teams on that list, none of them are the LA Lakers, all with better odds to potentially land Klay Thompson. Again, a guy that has taken a step back. He's had some sad sort of post-game interviews now at this point as well, saying, it hurts, it definitely hurts being a top guy and then falling down the ladder, with your sort of group. But I don't know, it's surprising the Lakers aren't even on those odds, given how those are sort of brought out, based off who are betting favorites and the interest the Lakers have had in him in the past. But I guess it makes sense. The Lakers don't have the cap to sort of bring him in, and he's not that sort of game-changing of a player right now that would really move the needle for the LA Lakers with his floor spacing, with the shooting, because he's just not all that consistent. Isn't the same defender he once was here now at this point in his career after, Achilles and ACL surgery. Tough. He's able to do it for one season, bringing the Golden State Warriors an NBA championship, but it does seem like his future is in question with the Golden State Warriors, but it won't be with the LA Lakers. But let me know what you guys think about all this LA Lakers news. You guys are the best to make it this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.